And our reporting begins in Washington, where House Democrats are finalizing a resolution to condemn anti-Semitism after comments by one of their own, freshman Democrat Ilhan Omar from Minnesota, pushing back against accusations that she's anti-Semitic. Some Republicans say they may call for Omar to lose her seat on the prestigious Foreign Affairs Committee. And the House set to vote tomorrow on the Democrats' resolution. The draft version obtained by Fox News does not mention Congresswoman Omar by name, but it does make clear that comments she made crossed the line, including last week when Omar said Israel's supporters are pushing for allegiance to a foreign country. We're told staffers for Democratic leaders Nancy Pelosi and Steny Hoyer and senior Jewish lawmakers Eliot Engel and Nita Lowey worked on the resolution. Omar has been in office for 2 months, and this will be the second action against her. She says she's talking about policy, not people, and is herself the victim of anti-Muslim attacks. Our chief congressional correspondent, Mike Emanuel, reporting live on Capitol Hill. Mike.
Trace, good afternoon. The resolution does not mention Congresswoman Ilhan Omar by name, and some lawmakers clearly think it should. The draft obtained by Fox News does say, quote, "Now therefore be it resolved that the House of Representatives acknowledges the dangerous consequences of perpetuating anti-Semitic stereotypes and rejects anti-Semitism as hateful expressions of intolerance that are contradictory to the values that define the people of the United States." A leading Democrat today says words matter.
What I know is I'm seeing it in too many places. We have racism in this country. Where has it become so politically acceptable to have all of this kind of hatred against so many people? I want to fight back against every ounce of hatred I'm seeing in this country.
Some leading Republicans say they should go much further. They should remove Congresswoman Omar from the House Foreign Affairs Committee.
Why would you have her on a committee that important, that sensitive to our foreign policy, if she has those kind of anti-Semitic beliefs, unless you're willing to tolerate it? And it shouldn't be tolerated. She ought to be removed immediately from the Foreign Affairs Committee.
This issue has exposed a lot of friction among House Democrats. Some veteran lawmakers do not care for all these high-profile freshmen making waves. Trace?
And Mike, another freshman Democrat, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, also facing accusations.
That's right. There's an accusation that her chief of staff funneled nearly $1 million of contributions to political action committees to private accounts. We caught up with Congressman Ocasio-Cortez earlier today.
There is no violation, so there's no violation.
Do you think that's a sign of you taking dark money?
Oh, no. I'm 100% legal. Thank you.
The complaint notes that the money transfers were noted for strategic consulting. That raised some eyebrows. Her supporters say it was a new and different way and totally legitimate. Trace?
Mike Emanuel live for us on Capitol Hill. Mike, thank you. Let's get more on Congresswoman Omar's comments and tomorrow's vote. Heather Cagle covers House Democrats for Politico and has been reporting on this story. She joins us from Capitol Hill. Heather, welcome to you. Even if they do not name Ilhan Omar in this resolution, this is still really an unprecedented rebuke.
Yeah, and you know, Trace, this is the second time that we've seen Democratic leadership rebuke Omar in just a matter of weeks. And I can't think of another time, I've been on the Hill for several years, that we've seen leadership go after a member of their own party, particularly a freshman, so publicly like this.
Yeah, you know, she's apologized a couple of times in the last few months. This time she seems to be standing her ground more, Heather. I mean, she came out saying, again, you know, it's problematic being told that you're anti-American if you're not pro-Israel. So this time around, she's like, and she's getting some support from some of her freshman colleagues, that she's going to stand her ground and fight a little bit more on this.
Yeah, you know, we saw over the weekend, so Congresswoman Omar was in Africa, so her Twitter was kind of sporadic, but she actually went after a senior Jewish Democrat, Congresswoman Nita Lowey, who had called on Omar to apologize and retract her statement. And Congresswoman Omar went after her on Twitter and said, you know, there's nothing to apologize for. These are my positions and things like that. And then we saw that she was backed up by some of her progressive colleagues, particularly freshman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who today on Twitter said, you know, there's a double standard here for controversial comments that lawmakers make. Why are we going after Congresswoman Omar when we don't pursue some of these other comments that other lawmakers have made in the past that also can be considered controversial and maybe even bigoted? So it's interesting to see the divide on the Hill between, even within the Democratic caucus, between senior lawmakers and the more younger progressive freshmen that have come onto the Hill.
And it's a good point. So now take us forward in your reporting here, Heather, because now you've got Republicans that are willing to offer a censure movement against her, and you've got some Jewish organizations saying that she really should be removed from the House Foreign Affairs Committee. What happens next to Ilhan Omar?
So that's a great question, and it's something that Democratic leaders haven't fully answered. So far, they've resisted calls to remove her from the Foreign Affairs Committee, and they've certainly rebuffed any attempts, any talk of censuring her on the House floor, which would be the most extreme step. So we'll see this resolution voted on tomorrow. It's expected to probably get broad support. Like you said earlier, it doesn't mention Omar by name, so we could even see her vote for the resolution. But the question is, do Democratic leaders, including Speaker Pelosi, take further action? Do they try to remove her from the committee? They have said so far they're not going to do that, but people are watching to see if she does apologize or if Congresswoman Omar makes any further controversial statements that may warrant further action.
And you mentioned controversial statements, and there seems to be a pattern because you go back, Heather, to 2012 when Ilhan Omar said that Israel had been hypnotized by the world, saying that she asked Allah to help people see the evil doings of Israel. She came out later and she apologized for that, but Democrats are clearly seeing a pattern. They're trying to stop this in its tracks right now.
Yeah, and you know, I think that you see senior Democratic leaders, several of them are chairmen of powerful House committees, including the one that Congresswoman Omar is on, and several of them are Jewish members, and they are very uncomfortable with the statements that she has made recently and in the past. And like you said, she did apologize for that 2012 tweet, but some of the stuff that she said recently, they're like, you know, this falls into the same line. But Congresswoman Omar also has her defenders like Ocasio-Cortez and others who say, no, we are not anti-Jewish, we are not against Israel, but we do have a right to question U.S. foreign policy and the U.S. stance toward Israel, and you know that doesn't make us bad people. And so there's clearly a generational divide that's playing out publicly on the Hill this week and, you know, the past couple of weeks.
Yep, it's good insight. Heather Cagle from Politico, thank you so much.
Thank you.